This is Shabbos Nun Gimel. We were talking about doing a half malacha under one type of shaygig and another half malacha under another type of shaygig, whether or not they combine to require someone to have a chatos. Amrab Azarya Kumi Rabbi Mana. So Rabbi Azarya says before Amana, so Tiftar Bizadain. So interpret it that both cases, that let's say a person wrote a letter one Shabbos and a letter on the other Shabbos, they were in a state of deliberateness. So if they were in a state of deliberateness, so now you have a deliberate saying that that it was Shabbos, that it was malacha. Both malachos were done deliberately, but it was shoygig regarding Shabbos, and therefore, since it's shoygig one Shabbos, shoygig other Shabbos, so it splits them up, and they don't combine, obviously. Amarle. So Ramona says Rabbi Zarya, V'loi kol shekain who, but it's not a kavachaymer ma'im hazadon shein choylek. If in a case where you're deliberate regarding Shabbos, in other words, you know that it's Shabbos, and the different Shabbosim then will not separate. So Ein Misaref, and the Shabbosim will then also not combine to create the Malacha Shgaga Hi Chalekes when you have a Shogeg that is regarding the doing of the Shabbos and separates them. So like Koshikein light starif. So for sure it's not going to combine. So either way, whether you learn out from the Kalvaheimer, or you learn out from the regular Svara, we learn out that if you are shogging on one Shabbos, shogging on the other Shabbos, there is no combination to do a half malacha to combine to make a person chayav malacha. Now, at this point, it's important to talk about what are we talking about, because we understand that if a person does half a malacha here and half a malacha there, so then it might be combined, because Shabbos is considered the Zman. In other words, if a person does half a malacha in the morning and half malacha in the afternoon, does it combine or does the time separate? So, Bapashtas, all of these questions that the Gemara is going through seems to say that there is no time separation for malacha. So long as malacha was done on Shabbos, it could combine. Now the question is, does it have to be on the same Shabbos? Is the Zman that Shabbos? In other words, you do it Friday night, you do it right before Motzei Shabbos, that's fine, but you're going to start telling me that you're going to do it one week and then do another week, even if it's mazid. Even if it's mazid, why is it chayiv? How can a person possibly be chayiv karis if every Shabbos he only does half a malacha? He's only doing half a malacha. You're saying he's chayiv kares? This we have to keep in mind as we go through the Gemara. Amar Rab Chanina. Loi Amar Kain. Rabbi Yirmiyah did not say his question in the case of two Shabbosim. Ella, Katzar Chatzi Gereres B'Shachris B'Zadayin B'Shabbos B'Shkagas Malacha. If he did it in the morning where he reaped a half a dry fig, and he was bemazed, he knew that it was Shabbos, but he was shoygig, he did not know or he forgot that it was Malacha. And then he did the opposite. He did another half of a fig. However, this time he did not realize it was Shabbos, but he knew that it was Malacha. So do they combine? Implying that if he had the same shgogo morning and night, it would combine. If you do not realize that it's Shabbos both times, and you do half malacha, half malacha, chayiv chatas. If you do not realize, if you do know that it's Shabbos, but you do not realize that you're doing a malacha, half malacha here, half malacha there, then the chatas. But here's the question that we have to keep in mind through all this. Doing half a malacha is not osur. You could be amazed regarding half a malacha. I am being amazed to do half a malacha. Chatzi shir. Because it's not mutter, it's potter avalosar, obviously. You obviously can't do a half a shir. And it could be that it's b'nei shemayim not kares, but it's some other punishment. Fine, I understand that. But I'm only being mazed half a shir. So mazid half a shear and mazid half a shear, how does it possibly combine to mazid a whole shear? In that case, and you forgot that it's Shabbos. If you knew that it's Shabbos and you're purposely, then that's what we're talking about. But what happens if you're mazid b'Shabbos, you know that it's Shabbos, but you are forgetting that you're doing half a shear. But again, how could you forget that half a shear is not necessarily osir, it's only half a shear. So what are you exactly being shaygig on half a shear? Tzarchi. This we have to keep in thought in mind throughout the Gemara. Amar Ramana. Ramana says, Af al Gav, the law Amar Rabbi Yosa da Milsa, even though Rabbi Yosa did not discuss this little question, Amar the Kavasei, he did discuss a similar question. If you had a half a gazayas of kachim, and you knew that it was kachim, but you forgot the yatame. The chatzi zayis behelam kodesh b'dias hatoma. And again, forgetfulness regarding the kachim this time, and you knew that you were toma. Ha'elam shabai v'helam shabai ma'amushtar. Do they combine, and it all is telling the same thing? Again, if you forget that you are Tomei and you are doing this, fine. But again, if you are doing half a shear is not enough. So how could half a shear even be a shoygig? You're automatically a shoygig on half a shear, even if you're mazid in half a shear. Because I'm saying I'm simply doing half a shear, but half a shear is not the level of Isser. So he's doing half a shear. That's all he cares about, doing half a shear. He knows he's not allowed to do a full shear. So he's doing half a shear. Half a shear has some sort of heter to it. It's probably pater aval aser, either abanon, and even if it's the raisa aser. But obviously abanon gave a shear for a reason. There's a shear. If there was no shear, then there would be no shear. So clearly there's a shear. And if there's a shear, like for instance, eating any amount of chametz or pesach is not good. Any amount is not good. However, that's not the case of treifus and stuff. It's kazayas or kunshim. It's kazayas. So if that's the case, if there's a shear, having half a shear, what does it make a difference if you are mazid? And what does it make a difference if you are not mazid? Either way, you're only doing half a shear. You're not mazid for the full shear. You never were, even if you did it later. So that's why you're trying to say, what are we tolling in the time? Because if you had in mind to do half a shear now and half a shear later, then maybe you're saying you had in mind to do the full shear. So then he did the full shear within a certain amount of time. I don't know what that time limit is. You can't do it when you're 13 and then the next one when you're 45. It doesn't make sense. But there's got to be obviously some time where you could do half a shear and they'll combine. And the Gemara is talking about in that time frame if that's what's going to combine. So that's why you have the question where you're switching shkaygis, because now you're not shaygig on the half a share and half a share. One you're shaygig on the half a share, one you're shaygig on the time, and therefore the question is whether or not they're going to combine. Nicha Shabbos, it's understandable for Shabbos. Now we're going back to the Kalbe Choymer with the question of Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Akiva. It's okay regarding Shabbos and the difference between Shabbos and Nida. What's that difference? What's good? You may hachoil time because weekday occurs between them. Gabi Nida, Maislach, but Nida you don't have a time break. Oh, now we have a time break. So Shabbos, you have a time break. So therefore, Shabbos, half a share on one Shabbos, half a share on the Shabbos will never combine because to Shabbosim, time break. Nida, in the period of Nida, there's no time break. It's the 7 days. Yeah. Reish Lagish says Tiftar B'Nida Kitana. So we're talking about this is already the DYY stuff. So we know Midiaraisa, a woman who sees her menstrual blood, so then automatically 7 days. And any time in those 7 days, the second she could keep seeing blood, and the second she's finished, she go to the mikveh. If there's no blood, and after the 8th day, after the 7th day, she go to the mikveh. Even if she sees blood all 7 days, no problem, go to the mikveh. However, then we also have the zav, and we think about choshesh for that. We're suspicious for possible because we don't know necessarily what is Zava blood as opposed to Nida blood. So we end up saying that you have to have 7 clean days. But according to Raisa, even according to Zav, you could have, if you saw one day only, then it's fine, and then you don't have to start a whole 7 days over again. If you saw a few days, then you do. So the question is, let's say you saw a few days and you stopped, and then you saw a few days, one day, and then you stopped. So then you do have periods. Then you do have periods where it stopped. Okay, so that's what I was talking about, and that could be similar. That could be similar to Shabbos. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon says, "Kach Shaloi." This is Rabbi Kiva required Rabbi Lazar. Bo Ali do achas chamesh b'lois behelam achas. He did it with a single needle 5 times during a single lapse of awareness. Not what's the law. I don't know if it was the same day or it was 5 days in a row, whatever it was. Chai b'achas al kulam. Is it 5 in all them? Oh, yachas al achas yachas. Or is it a separate one for each and every one? Amar Lei says them chayiv al kol achas v'achas. You chayiv for every single one of them. The kasha, but this is difficult. You look tzar v'ksar b'helam echad. If one reaped on Shabbos and then reaped on Shabbos over the single awareness, v'kulam v'chayiv v'kulam v'achas. You only get one. All right, in Shabbos doing the same malacha, even if you did, did on the same lapse of awareness. If you do the same type of malacha, it's only one. If you do it multiple times. Rabbi Acha b'Shem, Rabbi Chanir, Rabbi Acha b'Shem, Rabbi Yehuda says, "Kain Rabbi Mana b'Ksheilei, Rabbi Mana b'Ksheilei." Version of Rabbi Elazar's statement. The law call came Amar Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Abu b'Shem, Rabbi Abba and Chanina. But did not Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Abu and Chanina says, "Call Hadu Hilchos Rabbi Elazar." That I think all the Hilchos Rabbi Rabbanan, but according to Rabbanan, in the Chayiv Alachas, we're going to only Achas. Afach here, Lo Yu Chayiv Alachas. So here too, also. Regarding the nida should also be only chayev in one. And again, we were talking about doing half malacha here, half malacha there, whether or not that they combine. So we know why is that important? Because now if you do one whole malacha over your time, you only chayev one anyway. So the max you can be chayev is one. The question is that because they combine, or that's the question is because the lapse of awareness is one. So that's what the Gemara says. Amar Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says, "Kamaitze Kai Demar." I have held up Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon's version of Rabbi Elazar's position, based on what he said, as follows: Rabacha b'Shem Rav Chanina, Rabacha b'Shem Chanina. Less came, but he did not so. El Rabbanim only seems like you go and quote Rabbanim. Rabbana the Kesarian b'Shem Rab Nisa, and Rabbana of the Kesaria of the Caesarean Rabbanan said in the name of Rabbi Nisa, Kal Ha the Hilchos of the Rabbi Elazar, who the entire thing is really according to Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar v'chol difok meinas halacha kulak Rabbi Elazar. Okay, so therefore, when you're talking about multiple chayivim, then Rabbi Elazar, Rabbanan and Rabbi Kiva will disagree. Halacha based. Now, here we go into the Avois of Malachos. Avois Malachos, Arbam Chazarachas, the primary and the main Malachos, Shabbos, are 40 minus 1. Hachoyresh plowing, Hazarei sowing, Kaitze reaping, Hama Amer gathering, Chadash when you're threshing, Vazoyren winnowing, Abayrer and selecting, Vatoichin and grinding, Vahar Marikad and sifting, Alosh and kneading, Vaifa and baking, Vahagoy says it's a semer sharing wool, hamalabnoi, whitening, hamanapsoi, dismantling it, hatsoivoi, dyeing it, coloring it, hatoivehu, spinning it, hamesech, mounting the warp, the haoiseshte, but they nirim, setting to heddles onto the loom, weaving 2 threads, removing 2 threads, a kaisher tying, a matir untying, v'hatoifer state where sewing 2 stitches, v'hakaireya al mina lispar state where is tearing in order to sew 2 stitches. Again, now we see how a shear is involved, and if you have in mind only do one, how is that any different than being shaygig? Hatzad tzvi, trapping a deer, or any animal really, hashachtai, and slaughtering, Hamashvita skinning, Hamoilcha insulting, Vahamoichaka and smoothing, Vahamabda and tanning it, Vahamachska and cutting it, Vachsoiv Steoisios writing 2 letters, Hamoiche Kalmina Lichsoisteoisios write 2 letters. Again, it's 2 letters. So writing 1 letter, how is that different than being shoygig or mezida on 1 letter or shoygig on 1 letter? You can't be shoygig on 1 letter because it's not a malacha do 1 letter. Habaina or building, Hasoiser demolishing, Hamaka extinguishing, Hamavir kindling, Hamaka patish striking the final blow. Sorry, I couldn't speak that very well. Hamoitzi mirshos lurshos, taking out from one domain to another domain. Here's a question, of course, right away. Why didn't Torah say the Avos Malachos? It would have been nice if Torah gave us a list, but there's a reason why I learned in the Gemara why. Well, the Gemara can say why exactly. We're going to learn out from the Gemara why the Torah doesn't give a list. They are 40 minus 1. How do you know them from the Torah? We'll get to that in the next daf.